On today's You Ask, I Answer, Marcus asks, how do you measure brand equity? That's a big question. um, the good news is that measuring brand equity is something that has been well known. A number of really good answers on this for decades. Consulting firms have had their own proprietary blend of measures. One of the best summaries, I think, of measuring brand equity comes from an issue of the California Management Review. This is the spring 1996 issue. Professor David Aaker cites the following 10 dimensions as good ways to measure brand equity. One, price premium, satisfaction, quality, innovation and leadership, value, personality, association, awareness, market share, and distribution price indices. So let's dig into a few of these. Price premium is one that he and a number of consulting firms sort of rely on as the gold standard for measuring brand equity, which is how much more of a premium does your brand command versus comparable alternatives. For example, if you are looking at CRM software, how much cheaper does an alternative to Salesforce.com have to be in order for someone to say, "Yep, I will choose that over the reputation of Salesforce.com"? Or how much more would you pay for how much more do you pay for a soda that has the Coca-Cola logo on it versus a generic soda, like the Rite Aid brand of soda? Even though chemically they're probably going to be fairly similar, what is the premium that thing commands? Loyalty is obviously one that you can measure. Repeat business, how much people will come back and buy from you. Repeat customers, things like that, and recommendation. How much will people talk about your brand in a positive way? And you can measure that any number of ways, but your CRM is going to be a huge source of that data. Price premium data, by the way, can come from, depending on where you sell and how you sell, that can come from market research, or particularly on the B2C side, you can use shopping APIs to pull pricing data across the internet, whereas previously you would have had to do a massive in-store surveys. Quality, how much do people perceive the brand as being higher quality than its competitors? That's something that you would measure through surveying. Brand innovation and leadership. Is it a leading brand? And again, that's surveying unaided recall. If I were to ask you to name three coffee shop franchises, probably you're going to name Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and one other. And who that other one is, we don't know. But almost certainly Starbucks is going to be in one of the answers, and that's that kind of leadership. Again, surveying. Perceived value. Do people perceive that your brand is worth buying over a competitor's brand? Does it provide good value for the money? And that would be another question you would answer through surveying. Brand personality and reputation. Does the brand have a personality? Is the brand aligned with the audience's personality? You'd measure that through sentiment about the brand. Organizational association is one where the brand itself has trust. So people say, "I admire the company that makes this product or service." So if the brand is the iPhone, do people admire Apple as the organization? And so there you're measuring portfolio strength along with the overall corporate reputation strength. Again, that's going to be a lot of surveying. You can get some qualitative data through social media, but you're still probably going to need to do real market research to answer that question in a balanced way. Product differentiation is a part of that as well. So how does this brand differ from other brands? Again, if you pick a enterprise SaaS, enterprise software appliance, how does this router differ from this router? Is there a difference? And if people can't explain the difference, then you have a brand strength problem, a brand equity problem. Brand awareness. name the brands in this product class. Have you heard of this brand? Do you know? Do you have an opinion about this brand? That's something that you can actually use search data for. Searching for, if people are searching for antivirus software, what brand are they searching for? Or is there no brand and it's a commodity, in which case you have a brand equity problem. Market share, based on market penetration. How much of the market does that brand have? Name a search engine. Your first answer is probably not within the United States. Is probably not Baidu. Your first answer is probably Google. Now go to China, a very different answer there. First answer will be Baidu. But even there, people have heard of Google, even if they may not necessarily have access to it. So certainly market share based on revenue as well. How much of the available dollars does that brand consume? And then price and distribution indices, which are less relevant in the internet age, because back when this paper was written, it was functionally still not the internet era, even though the internet was starting to rise in popularity. But the percentage of stores that carry your brand, or the percentage of people who have access to your brand, well, now if you have a website, technically 90% of the 45% of the planetary population technically has access to your brand. Now, that's where, again, search data would be very useful, comparing search data and traffic data to see what percentage of traffic among your peer competitor set does your website get versus competing websites. What percentage of available engagements on social media does your brand get versus other brands? So there are ways to do that with digital metrics. And that's an important point. When the paper was written, it was 1995. The paper was 1996. Professor Aaker's book was 1995, and he cited that measuring these different dimensions would be extremely expensive, extremely difficult. Today, that's less true. It is a much different world now, 25 years later, and measuring some of these, particularly digital metrics, is a lot easier. Things like market share, things like price indices, things like brand awareness are much easier to measure. Pricing premium through shopping APIs, depending on your marketplace. That said, for a good number of these, particularly around quality, leadership, value, perception, personality, the gold standard remains market research conducted by a highly qualified market research firm. I personally like Edison Research, but there are a number of them out there. But you still need to do the research properly. Just slapping up any old survey in SurveyMonkey is not going to give you reliable, intelligent answers. You need professional help for that. For the other measures, digital marketing analytics and especially CRM data, customer data, will provide you a good chunk of the needed insights. So ideally, you blend all those together and weight them to come up with an index that's appropriate for your organization and your industry. And if you don't have access to the funding, you can still put together some of these metrics through things like search data and traffic data and stuff from reliable third-party data sources, and come up with a blended brand equity measurement that is directional. You may not be able to slap a dollar value on it, but you can put a directional number saying, we have more brand strength this quarter than we did last quarter. We have greater branded search awareness for the company and for the products. We have greater traffic data. We have generally more sentiment, or more positive sentiment on social media than we did the previous quarter. But again, the gold standard is still market research, so use that as much as you can. So, great question, Marcus. It's a very big question, so this is a very short answer to what is going to be a very, very detailed process for you to go through. As always, if you have questions, please leave them in the comments. Please subscribe to the newsletter and the YouTube channel. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. If you want help with your company's data and analytics, visit braintrustinsights.com today and let us know how we can help you.